Thanks for joining me on this slideshow as we dive into different learning theories. We're going to talk about behaviorism, Cognitivism, Constructionism, Constructivism, and Connectivism. And I just want to thank you again for joining me on this journey. The lesson I want to focus on is working with the models behaviorism, connectivism, and constructivism. So this summer I had the opportunity to design a art of handwriting class. This focused on penmanship for younger students, and I wanted to I didn't want this to be the regular rote learning of handwriting, but I wanted this to be an opportunity to incorporate a learner-centered environment that was integrated with technology. So I created a one-to-one learning environment. Each student had a Chromebook, a notebook, and a pencil. And they worked on their just right writing level on their own. And they would view a video, say on letters that involve the magic C. So the A's, the D's, the C's, Q's, letters like that have a C shape in them. This is just one example. They would work on this, they would write a writing example, and then where behaviorism comes in, they would bring that to me as the learning facilitator. I would check it, and then through meeting the learning goals, they could earn calligraphy cash. And this cash, if you will, went towards different materials that they could use towards the end of the week to create a piece of word art to take home with them. So this type of learning activity incorporated connectivism by involving technology. It was a way that students would connect with each other. They were comparing notes and comparing how each other was writing. They were kind of a little competitive on how far along they were getting in their writing and things like that. So it was a lot of fun. Thanks. So looking at constructivism, in building map skills, my students in my first grade summer school class would assemble as a whole group, and our whole class would take a walking field trip down around town and explore who the different community helpers were that make up a community and what the important roles are, why we would have those types of roles in a community, and map out the map of our downtown area in our small town. So as we were walking, we would stop to mark down different landmarks on a sheet of paper that I had had made in advance with the specific streets that we were walking on. Following up with that afternoon, I made copies of the map so each student had a map and could follow along in understanding how this map relates to the real life part of the street and the layout of the city. In respect to that, then, the students not only learned about map making skills, but they were also talking about community helpers and what their roles were. So we as a class would discuss who the most important community helpers are, what their role is, what they do to serve the community. Following up with that, the students would break down into small groups, collaborate with their small group. Each group would be assigned a specific element of a community, like a library or a grocery store. What their role was in that small group was up to them. And so then they would take their desks and any cardboard or materials that they had available to create for themselves a grocery store, a dentist office, a library, and they set these things up in different areas around the room. This helped them to understand that they were building their own community. Then, in reflecting on that, they were able to design their own map. They used the skills that they had. They used the information that they were gathering from their friends in the classroom on what it meant and how to build a map. Then they were able to, this was their product, this was their assessment for the class, for this lesson. And so they would design their own map based on the community that they had in the classroom. Of course, it's first grade, and you have to have that opportunity to role play and to be a community helper. So following up with this, the last couple days of the week, the students actually had a chance to become doctors and dentists and people that worked in the grocery store and librarians, and so they had a lot of fun doing that. Thank you. So, the Constructionist model, a little bit along the lines of Constructivism, but in the Constructionist model, in Constructionism, it goes beyond just creating something, but it goes into creating something with a purpose and creating it to show and to share with others. And this runs right into what I've done for the last 3 years in the summer. I've spent a week each summer for the last 3 years working as an instructor for Camp Invention at our local high school. In Camp Invention, the students, this is all connected to the National Inventors Hall of Fame. And so the students would, in each section, would spend a week learning about different inventors and learning about different inventions that these inventors have created and how they have bettered society. They will use these inventions or something like them to create their own invention. And at the end of the week, these inventions are put on display to share with their families and the people in the community. So that's my example of Constructionism. Thank you for joining me today. This has been a little session about learning theories, and I chose to do this in my craft art room, if you will. It's where I store my fabrics and my paints behind me, all those kind of things, and it's a fun, creative place for me to get away. I wanted to choose this particular place because, and this particular platform to choose on my reflection of learning theories, because that's the whole point of educational technology, is to be creative and to have a chance to get in and dive in using your hands and thinking and doing some critical thinking and constructing and learning through all of that. And so because of that, and that's the meat and potatoes of learning about the kind of what it is that you want to be when you grow up. And that's what's so important about educational technology. So this was the reason for where I chose and how I chose to share my reflection for this particular project. So thank you.